Hey guys, it's Wednesday. Thought we'd do some cooking, and today, first I'm going to adjust my camera because you can't see the top of my head, and I feel that if you're going to look at me, you're going to look at all of me, for the better or the worse. But we're going to do some cooking. Tonight we're going to do something easy, quick, fast. Everybody likes them, for the most part, unless you're vegetarian or vegan, then you're probably not going to watch this video, because tonight we're making hamburgers, and we're going to talk about hamburgers for a minute. So tonight we're going to make, the hamburgers we're going to make are actually a recipe that Chris found forever ago online, and we've kind of tweaked it and made it our own. We didn't add anything, but we took away some of the stuff, and oh wait, hold on one second, what did we add?
We did add the egg, the
Okay.
sauce, and the burger.
Oh, yep, so we did. We're kind of making mini meatloaves. But anyhow, we make all our hamburgers this way. So this hamburger, is based off of a restaurant chain that used to be around called Fuddruckers. And it was their world's greatest hamburger. It was just their standard hamburger. But like I said, we added, taken away, and I'll tell you the things we added as we went. But when it comes to hamburgers, they're so versatile, and what you can do with them. So you can make them big, you can make them small, thin, thick, just in that aspect. But then, like tonight, we've got a bunch of spices we're going to add to it. Put some eggs, some breadcrumbs, some Worcestershire sauce, make it almost like a mini meatloaf. You could add mushrooms and Swiss cheese to it. You could add taco seasoning and a Mexican cheese blend to it. Anything you can think of that you would want on a hamburger, you can actually put into a hamburger. So that's what we started doing. So basically on top, all you're doing is, you're still doing your standard vegetables. In this case, it'll be tomato, lettuce, and onion, a little bit of Duke's mayonnaise. But you could also, if you're making a Mexican hamburger, you can put salsa on top of it. Just the possibilities are endless. Your imagination can go wild with a hamburger. Or, if you don't want any of that, you could literally just patty up the hamburger and cook it. Growing up, that's the way my mom did them. A little salt and pepper, patted them up, and ran with it. We didn't get into the gourmet style hamburger until we were adults, and it became popular and we heard of them. And then, me and Chris, we just can't eat a normal hamburger anymore. This is our normal hamburger, is what I'm about to share with you. Things you will need. At minimum, you will need a bowl and hamburger. Now, we are using, as you can see right here in the backdrop, I'm using my mixer. And if you have a mixer, use it. It doesn't hurt. I will caution you on this, though. If you mix too fast or too long, you can start to break down the proteins in the meat. And not that it'll hurt a whole lot, but it does make it harder to hold together. So, let's go over our ingredients list real quick. I'm going to bring you down so you can actually look at this plate. I've got like 14 different spices on it. So we're going to go in the order. I've got 2 teaspoons of cumin. I've got 2 teaspoons of paprika. I have got, 1.5 teaspoons of ground black pepper. I have got 1.25 teaspoons of salt. I have a 1/2 teaspoon of brown sugar to help balance all this shenanigans. 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. I've got, a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne. Now to that, that's all our spices right there. And yeah, it's a fair amount, but it's all stuff that you should have pretty much, with the exception of maybe cayenne, standard in your spice cabinet. To that, we will add an egg, 1 egg. We're going to add 1 cup of breadcrumbs, and we're going to add about 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. Maybe not, maybe a tablespoon and a half of Worcestershire sauce. Use your, it'll be up to you. And like I said, these spices, what you prefer is, if you want more of something, less of something, that would be completely up to you. Make it right for you and your family. So, and this is just for this particular burger. If you like mushrooms and Swiss cheese in it, or mushrooms and mozzarella in it, cut up some mozzarella. Get you a can of mushrooms, or if you make your own, or fresh mushrooms, however you like it. Mushrooms and Swiss are my personal favorite in the hamburger world. Anything involving mushrooms and Swiss or mozzarella, mushrooms and a white cheese at any rate, is amazing. So, how are we going to do this? It's really easy. First thing we're going to do is bring the camera back down so you can see the mixer. And we're pretty much just going to dump all this together. Now, let's say you don't have a mixer. You know what? That's okay. You can use your hands. You can use a spatula. It doesn't really matter. I prefer a mixer because I feel I can get a better blend on it. I have found in the past, at least with me, I don't seem to get my hands in there enough to get it well incorporated. But I find a mixer does that job. So I have 2.5 pounds of hamburger here. I'm sorry, 2.25 pounds of hamburger here. And to that, I'm just going to put my spice mix in there. Now, the measurements I gave you for these spices and breadcrumbs, that is for 2 pounds of hamburger. I mean, we're going to make, you can make as many hamburgers as you want, but I'm going to end up doing 5 hamburgers. 5. That way, they're almost half pound each, and the meat I'm using is a 90-10 mix. You can use whatever you have available for you. That it's not necessary. If you're going to have it with the more fat, like the 80-20 or even the 70-30, which I personally don't recommend the 70-30. I wouldn't go any lower than 80-20, 80% meat, 20% fat. It gets really greasy. Your hamburgers shrink. They can be a mess. So, put our hamburger in the mixer, or if you're not using a mixer, just leave it in the bowl. You're going to put your spices in with it. We're just going to dump this, basically. We'll put our egg in there. Your egg can be cold, it can be room temperature, whichever you like. Breadcrumbs, and Worcestershire sauce. And I'll put my paddle back on. You don't have to take the paddle off your, well, I mean, you know your mixer. Go ahead and set this down, and I'm just going to turn it on low. And we're just going to let it go for a minute. Like I said, you don't want it to go too fast, and you don't want it to get going forever long. If you do, you run the right chance of A, it going everywhere, B, of breaking down your hamburger. I actually learned this trick from my mom some years ago when she started making meatloaf and her hands just couldn't handle mixing the meatloaf anymore. She found she got a better consistency this way, and it didn't really tear the meat up too much. All right, well, let me get this mixed up, and as soon as I come back, we'll talk about how to separate it. All right, see you here in just 1 second. All right, so I'm back. We got it all mixed up. There we are. See how, I mean, you can't even tell that there's anything in there. I mean, you want to, I let it mix in the mixer for about 1.5 minutes. But it's not broken down, but it's well incorporated. I mean, if you can see, it's got like a nice red tint to it, and that's that paprika, smoked paprika. So now let's talk about the different ways we can cook this. As soon as I find my towel, there it is. So, I mean, there's a few different ways you can cook hamburgers. If it's nice outside and it's not, too hot for you or whatever, and you got time, you can cook them on a grill, nice charcoal grill or gas grill or whatever it takes. You can fry them up in a pan. You can also put them in the oven. Tonight we're putting these in the oven. That way I don't get grease all. I just don't feel like cleaning up a bunch of grease. And to be honest with you, it's 90-some degrees outside, and I really don't want to stand outside and use the grill. So we're just going to use the oven. That way I get them cooked. I don't have a whole lot of mess or cleanup. At least that's what I'm running with today. But I'm cooking them in the oven at any rate. So we got our meat. Now this meat weighs 1,204 and right around 1,240 grams altogether. So I want 5 hamburger patties. That way we got 1 for each of us, and then 1 left over in case I get hungry and want 2, or Abby wants an extra 1, or whatever. But you can take them down to whatever size you want. Just, you want to try to make them as even as possible. That way when you're putting them in the oven, they cook evenly and all together at the same time. And Same way with the skillet. If you're going to skillet fry them on your cast iron or whatever, you want to make them about the same size so that way they cook evenly and they're done at the same time. Grill, you want to be close with, but you can always move them around and get them away from in a cooler spot on your grill so they don't cook as fast if they're smaller. If you would like to see me and learn some grilling stuff, I'll be more than happy to do it. Just let me know. Throw me a comment or find me on Facebook, and we can take it from there. So what I'm going to do is, my next step, now when I do these in the oven, I put them on a broiler pan. You know, you may be asking yourself, what's a broiler pan? Okay, well, a broiler pan, they usually come when you buy a stove, but this is a broiler pan, and it's used for when you broil things in your oven or use that top heating element in your oven. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hamburger out. I'm going to place it on my scale, baking scale, good to use, and I'm going to make these about 245 a piece. Yeah, that way I know I got good size. I mean, these are going to be ginormous hamburgers, just so you know. But you know what we're going to run them at? We're going to do 6 hamburgers and make them 200 a piece. All right, so we got that. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make it into a nice little ballish shape, and then I'm going to flatten it out. You know, and I'm going to make them about, I don't know, ½ inch, 3/4 inch thick. You know, give or take. Now, here's the important part. Every hamburger you cook, they like to shrink, especially if they are higher in the fat content, and they like to ball up in the middle. They always poof up in the middle. So what I do is I take my thumb and I push that center part down, and I build a little well. Okay? And what that well does is it keeps it from poofing up, and it helps to keep it from shrinking. It may not shrink at all. If you do it right, it shouldn't shrink at all. Now, I'm a little hit and miss on that, I'm not going to lie. And then when you put it on your pan, you're going to put it upside down, so that well is upside down. And then that way, it'll grow on the bottom. This won't poof up at all. It'll all go down, and then when we flip them over, you'll have a nice even hamburger all the way around. And hopefully, if we did it right, we won't have a whole lot of shrinkage. Okay, so in this case, we're doing 200 grams. You know, now you don't have to use a scale. You can eyeball it. I just prefer. It's kind of who I am to be a little more be that precise with it. So that way, I know I've got perfect time for heating. In the oven, they cook all the way through, because we're going to temp these. You want these to, when they cook up, you want them to be at 180 degrees because they are hamburger, they're ground meat. All right, we use our thumb, put that circle in there, like so, and then turn it upside down. All right, I am going to get the rest of these pattied up, and if I did this right, we should come out with 6 hamburgers total. And when I come back, we'll talk about what to do in the oven. All right, see you here in just 1 millisecond. All right, so I got the rest of them made up. There we are. 6 beautiful hamburgers. These hamburgers weigh about 1/3 of a pound each, so they're good sized hamburgers. Definitely easy to make a meal. Nobody should probably have 2 of them, but it's probably going to happen down the road. So let's talk about how like I said, there's a few different ways you can cook a hamburger. You can put them on a grill, which is great. We enjoy the grill when it's not 1,000,000 degrees outside, and we can fire it up. We also pan frying is good, but it does make a bit of a mess in my opinion. Now, it's completely up to you. You're going to get cooked either way it goes. You don't get the grilled flavor, so you don't get that charcoal or wood flavor that you would normally have, or you can put them in the oven, which is what we're going to do today. I preheated my oven to 350 degrees. Now, if you got your hamburgers done, because this happens to me every once in a while, and you're like, oh, I forgot to preheat the oven. That's okay. Just after you patty them up, stick them in the fridge for a minute, let the oven warm up. That way they're good to go. Once the oven warms up, we're gonna put these in the oven for 40 minutes. All right, we're gonna cook them in the oven for 40 minutes. But what I'm gonna do is at the 20-minute mark, I'm gonna pull them out real quick and I'm gonna flip them over. If you don't do that, they'll still cook through, but it'll be real pale on one side and have a nice color on the other side. So you want to flip them over, that way you get a good even color and you get that nice crispness that should be on the outside of a hamburger. So I'm going to go ahead and get these in the oven, and while they're cooking and you're relaxing for a second, I'm going to cut up a tomato and some onion, and when I come back, we will give them a taste, see how they taste. All right, and I can let you look at them and all that cool stuff that normally comes with cooking videos. All right, I'll see you here in just 1 second. Okay, so we let our hamburgers cook for 40 minutes. After 20 minutes, we turned them over. Here is how we turned out. Now, I did get a little bit of shrinkage on them, but they thickened up and they're still bun size. That's my ultimate goal with hamburgers, is will it be as big as the bun or a little bit bigger? So here, let me bring you down so we can see what we're doing. Oh, there we are. And tonight, I personally, we just kind of do our whatever toppings you want on them when we do hamburgers. But here's our bun. So we're toasted. Now to toast your buns, since you can't really use a toaster to toast your buns, and I don't know everybody has a toaster oven, but most people have an oven, even in your apartment. So what I do is, like the last 2 minutes of the hamburgers, I put these in the oven and I put them on the rack like this, so they're face down. And just let them go for a minute or two until they get a nice golden brown look to them. You can make them darker, lighter, however you like them. So we'll go ahead, and the test is, does the hamburger fit the bun? It does. And we got nice thickness to it, nice color. And then for these particular burgers, I personally like some vegetables on it. Now, I have a relish here, and this relish is a pepper relish, and we make it ourselves. It's green, red, yellow peppers that we grow in the garden, and we blend it up, and I'm not exactly sure what Chris puts in it because she makes it, but it's got jalapenos in it also. It's the most amazing relish ever. I'm going to do a couple pickles on there. We're going to do an onion, a fresh onion, and then a couple of tomatoes. I didn't have any big hamburger tomatoes readily available, but I do have Romas, so we'll throw a couple tomatoes on there. And I forgot my Duke's mayonnaise. And you're saying to yourself, gosh, Brian, you're putting an awful lot of stuff on there. Are you going to be able to taste the burger? Well, that would be a very good question, and I have a very good answer for you. Yes, you will be able to taste the burger. The spice blend that's in these burgers is not overbearing, but strong enough you can taste it with your toppings. And that's important with a hamburger, is to be able to taste it with your toppings. All right, and that is my official way too big for my mouth hamburger. Right there. That is, that's every bit of 6 inches tall. But that's what makes an amazing hamburger. And believe it or not, Abby can eat this also, which is kind of crazy, but she can. So let me grab a knife real quick. I'm going to cut this in half so I don't look like a complete pig eating this for you. But I do want to try it. This recipe is easy and simple, and yet tender and delicious. It sounds like it's a lot of ingredients, but it's not. So let's give her a shot here and see how she tastes. All I have to say is wow. That pretty much describes it. And I don't mean wow in a negative way. The flavor is just crazy. And you add those fresh vegetables on top of it, makes it even crazier. But you top it with whatever you like. I just personally think the the relish, the pickles, because the relish is a sweet relish, and the pickles are a hamburger pickles, so they're dill. So you got that sweet and sour on top of it, along with the tomato and the fresh onion and the mayo. It is like, it's kind of like 4th of July in your mouth. It's exploding like fireworks. You know, it's like a grand finale in every bite. But that is how we make our basic everyday hamburger. I am going to go eat now. I hope you try this recipe. I really do. It's something simple. It's something quick. It takes all of about 45 minutes to put together. And 40 minutes of that is in the oven. So it's just a good, easy, quick late night meal. And in reality, if you have kids, your kids can help you, especially your little ones, can help you make these hamburgers. It's something you can do together as a family. I know, like for this 4th of July, you know, if we're gonna cook out, like Chris will be getting the hamburgers together while I'm helping to make the macaroni salad. Abby will be in here helping make stuff. You know, Sarah will be out there helping me man the grill. Cooking should be a family event, you know, for the most part. Now, I mean, there's going to be nights, you know, especially as a parent, where your kids have homework to do. They don't really feel like cooking that night, and that's okay. You know, this is, you know, but it should be a family night. You know, it should be something you do together. That's like, I still firmly believe that maybe not Sunday nights, but at least one night a week, if not more, but minimum one night a week, you guys should sit down at the kitchen table and have a good meal together. So we're going to go sit down and have a good meal together. And I really do hope you try these burgers. Or if you have a different burger you make, let me know. Let's talk about it. Let's have a discussion because it'll be fun. Leave it down in the comments. You can message me on Messenger or hit me up on Facebook. I'm on Brian. It's still Brian's Aquatics on Facebook and Messenger. And we can talk about it. We can swap recipes. I've got all kinds of burger recipes. This is just our standard, you know, we want to have burgers one night and everybody's too tired to cook a big meal recipe. So, that being said, I love you. Tell somebody else you love them. It will make their whole day a whole lot better, I promise. And we'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to do 1 or 2 cakes tomorrow. Haven't decided which one yet, but I'll figure that out come morning. We're either going to do a pineapple upside down cake, which is one of our favorites, or we're going to do it's a Mexican birthday cake. It's a what? Tres leche cake. It's essentially a poke cake with with the most amazing cream topping on top of it, whipped cream, and I'm going to throw pineapples in it. It's going to be to die for if we make it. But either way, we will do one of the two. Pineapples are a thing. It's warm outside, and pineapples sound really refreshing. So I will see you tomorrow for a cake baking experience. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. All right, bye.